A recent study on consumer behavior revealed a surprising finding. When given a choice between products labeled as limited edition and them without such labels, even if the items are identical, consumers overwhelmingly chose the limited edition version. This suggests that perceived scarcity significantly influences purchasing decisions, tapping into a psychological desire for exclusivity and uniqueness. So when you take a look at the answer choices, you know that you're being tested on pronouns, right? Them, it, and their are pronouns. A pronoun is just a general word that replaces a noun, right? The noun that the pronoun replaces is called an antecedent, right? So for example, if I said, oh, um, Jack is smart. Yeah, he is also nice. Well, he, right, refers to Jack, right? So Jack is the antecedent and he would be the pronoun, right? So pronouns are just general forms, right? General words that replace more specific words called nouns, okay? And you also notice here how answer choice B, right, uses a noun answer choice, right? Well, this doesn't always happen, but sometimes the SAT will create answer choices that have nouns in them when you're being tested on pronouns. Right? Now, why is this important to note? It's important because usually these noun answer choices are correct. Not always, right? Usually they're right. I'd probably say about 80 to 90% of the time, these noun answer choices are correct. So how do so does that mean you should just pick it and move on? No, like you actually want to check, right? And this is how you check to see if these noun answer choices are going to be correct. So all you do is you plug in this noun answer choice back into the original passage and you read. Okay, but when you're rereading, right, you want to just focus on, right, whether or not this makes sense, right? When you use this word products in the sentence or in the passage, does it make logical sense, right? Or does the passage now somehow make no sense at all, right? And that's what you're checking for here. So you're reading with that intention in mind, right? Does product make sense when you plug it into this passage? And all of you guys can do this if you guys just kind of focus on, right? When you reread, you focus on the meaning that's created. You guys can all figure out, right, whether or not it makes sense. You just have to focus on it. Okay. So here, well, let's try it. It says a recent study on consumer behavior revealed a surprising finding. We have a colon here, so we know that this information afterwards is going to tell us what that surprising finding was. Right? So what was the surprising finding? Oh, okay, it was this. When given a choice between products labeled as limited edition and products without such labels, okay, kind of stop right there, right? Well, we know that the consumers overwhelmingly chose a limited edition version, right? But if we just stop right here, we're really trying to think about, does it make sense? Does the sentence make sense when you plug in products here? Okay, and you think about it, you're like, yeah, it does. And the reason why it makes sense is because we have products labeled as limited edition. That's one type of product, right? We have products that you have the label limited edition. That type of product is being compared with the other type of product, right? And it's going to be products without such labels, right? So we have two types of products. One of them has a label on it. It says limited edition. And the other one, right, doesn't have a label on it, right? So we compare these two. You can think about it, it makes logical sense, right? Because now the passage says when people are given the choice between these two types of products, right? One that has labels, one that doesn't. People will choose the one that has the label on it, right? So you think about it, you're like, oh yeah, this makes absolute sense, right? So at this point, you're done because you know that B is going to be the correct answer. And you don't have to check. You don't have to fight between like A or D or A or B or A or D or B or B or C. You don't have to kind of argue or think about, right? Like, is there another answer choice that's better? No, like in this case, when you have a pronoun, when you're being tested on pronouns and you have a noun answer choice, and you test whether or not that noun answer choice makes logical sense when you really think about it back into the sentence or the passage, right? The sentence makes grammatical sense and it also makes logical sense, right? Once you've checked that and it passes those two criteria, then you're done, right? So B is going to be the correct answer for this question. Okay? See you guys in the next question.